Welcome to this week's edition of Wolves Weekly. I'm your host, Mark Colachico, the Director of Media Relations here at Western Oregon University. I'm joined today by head men's basketball coach Brady Bergeson. Brady, how are we doing this week?
Doing well, thanks.
Talk a little bit about last week. You guys played one game against your rival, St. Martin's University, came away with your 9th straight win at home, 4th overall. What kind of things did you see positively, negatively, and then what are you guys working on this week?
Yeah, good game against St. Martin's. We did a lot right in that game. It took us a little while to find a rhythm, and the whole game sort of reminded me of a boxing match in the early rounds. Two fighters kind of feeling each other out and figuring out where the windows were. And I thought right before the first half ended, we put on a little bit of a run there. Made a couple of nice plays, and then we made some halftime adjustments that I think brought a little bit of clarity for our guys in terms of, on both sides of the ball, really. That brought us more success in the second half. We took a couple of, we built a nice lead in the second half there. We took a couple of runs where they came back at us and closed it within 4 or 5, and then we were able to extend it back out and close the game. I thought our guys just stayed real focused throughout, and I thought we really understood what we were trying to get accomplished there, especially in the second half. And St. Martin's did a nice job of attacking us and keeping us off balance at times with changing defenses and things like that. We're flipping the page here, and we're working towards our next opponent. So, this week is very much about ball control and attacking the pressure that we're going to see against Simon Fraser coming up. It'll be a very different sort of style of ball game than St. Martin's and many of the other games that we've seen.
And then talk a little bit about the second half against St. Martin's. You guys came out. Jordan Wiley had an amazing game. He had 21 points. He hit 5 from beyond the arc. Andy Ovgi, once again, just a solid all-around game for him in double digits. And then Julian Nichols and Devon Alexander both scored in double digits. I mean, you guys had 89% of your scoring from your 5 starters. Talk a little bit about that. Not much bench presence this week, but, overall good inside presence, inside-outside, like you guys normally like to play.
Yeah, we take each game as it goes, and we're never quite sure, what we're going to expect out of our second unit, et cetera, in terms of just what we're going to need on the given game. This game happened to be that, the guys that started ended up getting the majority of minutes and got a lot accomplished for us. Look, they were really determined to pack the paint and make us beat them from the outside. They were pretty consistent about that, and we've always been pretty good so far this year, at least, of taking what teams are giving us, and I thought we did that again on Saturday night. It took us a little while at times, but our guys did a nice job of sharing the ball and finding open men. Those guys stepped up, had good games, and even those guys that did come in a reserve role, each of them did some nice things for us. Whether it was making shots or not, and there's Desmond Dupree-Turner hitting 1 or 2 threes that he had that gave us a nice lift off the bench. Some really good hustle plays defensively, some rebounding efforts made by some guys off the bench. So it was another very good team effort.
And you talked a little bit about the defense. Devon had 6 steals in the game. Is that something you guys thrive on, is just that defensive pressure that you put forth towards all the teams that you play?
It is. We take a lot of pride in our defense, and I think that's, our guys believe in that side of the ball. They believe in what a quality defensive team can accomplish, and they're bought in. And so I think there's a lot of pride in creating problems for other teams defensively. So our guys really get into that, and they enjoy being aggressive on that side of the ball.
And then a little bit, you saw there in the highlights, you had some free throw shooting down the stretch where you guys were perfect at the line over the last 2 minutes. I mean, you guys are one of the top, I think you are the top still free throw shooting team in the conference. Is that something that you guys strive on?
Well, it's something that becomes one of those hinge statistics in close ball games. We've been in a lot of close ball games, and our guys have figured out ways to win a lot of them. That's one of those situations where maturity helps, I think there's only so much you can do as a coach to really prepare your team to have those pressurized free throws to close games or that sort of thing. And we do what we can do. It's up to the players to get in there and execute. We've got some mentally tough kids that have found a way to get it done, and we did it again on Saturday.
And let's look forward now towards this week. You guys are heading on the road for the second time this year. You've had 3 straight home games, which is always nice. But you guys are going across the border for the first time. You guys will play at Simon Fraser, on Thursday before coming back across the border to Bellingham to take on Western Washington. Simon Fraser comes in as the highest scoring team in Division II. What are you guys looking at to shut that down?
They're going to force tempo and bring a huge amount of pressure our way, so we've got to be ready to handle that. They play a style of ball that was made famous by Coach Westhead, and you know, it pops up in various areas and various levels still to this day. But you know, and basically they're trying to play a possession game. They're trying to force mistakes on our end and get easy baskets on their end, and in doing so, they take a huge amount of risks. And so we're going to have to be really strong with the ball control, ball security is going to be a premium. And then it's still basketball. I mean, we've got to force them to take some tough shots, contest them. You know, we've got to block out. We've got to go secure rebounds. We've got to get loose balls. We've got to, you know, work to get high percentage shots. And it's the game of basketball, regardless of style or whatever else. So whatever form that game takes, we just got to make sure we, you know, that we go in trusting our preparation and understanding what we're trying to get accomplished.
And then talk a little bit about the difference in the travel that you guys are going to face this week. You're already mentally prepared to do this, but what does it entail to get across the border?
Well, you never quite know. Sometimes you're sitting in a lot of traffic and long wait. Sometimes you're getting off the bus and waiting in line for a while. Sometimes they wave you through. And they barely even acknowledge your existence. So it just depends.
Depends on who calls. If it's Fraser calling and telling him to hold them up, or
right. So we'll make sure we build in plenty of time on the front end. We'll get across the border and have a good meal and sit together and build enough time to get there comfortably. We've made some mistakes in travel in previous years going up there, and so we just want to make sure that we're there ready to go on game time.
And then real quick, let's just look at the Western Washington game coming up on Saturday. You guys will come back across the border, take on the Vikings. Always a perennial powerhouse here in the GNAC. You know, what are you guys looking at?
Well, I know, you know, as always, they're loaded with firepower. They've always got guys that can score from everywhere, it seems like, and they come off the bench and bring more firepower into their game. So they're going to be good. You know, they've got a lot of new key players on their roster that they're counting on. I think seems like they've started to play better as of late and figuring out how to play together. But you know, we're gonna figure that one out after the Simon Fraser game. I don't know. It's always a tough place to play. They do a great job up there at home, and we're looking forward to both challenges on the road. We're gonna have to get it done on the road.
Well, Coach, we wish you good luck. Fans, just so that you know, the Wolves will be back home in action on the 29th of January when they take on the Yellow Jackets, of Montana State Billings. That'll be in the new PE building at 7 p.m. So once again, Coach, we wish you guys good luck this week as you hit the road. We'll see you guys next week here on Wolves Weekly, and as always, go Wolves.